So, no need for the introduction. I'm also the executive editor of the Mail Review. We're fortunate enough to collaborate with other organizations on campus, including CAB. We had a great event in the fall. If you don't know, the Mail Review is a student-run literary journal. This is our spring 2017 issue, which features original art and original creative writing. We accept submissions year-round in poetry, fiction, creative nonfiction, drama, and art and photography. We've been around since 1957, part of this university, formerly under the name Forthcoming, and has been a staple of the College of Humanities, Social Science, and Arts, as well as the Department of Literature and Languages. Excuse me. Our the budget request for the Mail Review is $6,500. The bulk of which would go to the printing of the journal. We print 300 issues one time in the spring from a company called Sheridan's that's based in Pennsylvania. We also request $1,000 for a fall guest speaker, as well as $2,000 for a spring guest speaker. And like the CGAT request, that does include travel, stipend, and lodging. We also request $500 for advertising of the event, and food and beverage from Sodexo. The other $500 for the spring speaker launch. Now, these two events that we hold in the fall are fairly critical. In the fall, our guest speaker helps commemorate the closing for the call for papers that go into our yearly spring issue, and then the spring speaker helps commemorate the publication of that issue. In the spring of this year, we had Dr. Courtney Craggett from UNT, who's a creative writer. Then in the past, we've also had Virginia poet laureate Tim Siders. It's a very wonderful event. Our journal is also in line with the mission of Texas A&M University of Commerce. Because we welcome diverse voices, which include international submissions. We support the creative pursuit, as well as cultivate knowledge in a non-traditional learning format. This is the only literary journal on campus, and in light of diversifying disciplines in the College of Humanities, funding is running more slim every year. Currently, we are only funded by the Mayor Review. It's called the Mayor Review, the Excellence Fund, in which we receive donations periodically to this endowment that was set up by Dr. Darko. And we also sell the issues, and we work off to volunteers. Like I said earlier, this year, really fortunate enough to be able to collaborate with other organizations on campus to help spread the word, and through word of mouth and small advertising on campus, we're able to increase submissions as well as increase attendance at our fall and spring speaker events. Questions?
Have you considered possibly doing an online publication rather than hard copy?
I have, especially since open access. There's a new rage, then for good reason. However, my dean and department head claimed that having a physical copy to hold on to is more memorable. And it also showcases, yes, absolutely. That also showcases the hard work that went into the journal, not only from the graduate students who participate in like editing that journal, but as well as the student contributions and contributions from other writers. Sir?
Why is Sheridan's? You mentioned it was based in Pennsylvania. Surely there must be publishers within a closer distance who would be able to provide
I imagine so.
opportunity.
We switch out lead editors every year, and the Sheridan's, we've always gone through that. In fact, this year journals were going to be late to the spring issue launch, and we have a good relationship with them, and they were able to ship a set out early. That way we had
So
something.
does the mayor review that every year competitively priced with Sheridan's, or is that because they're your normal publisher that you haven't gotten, I guess, compared prices with other publishers since going with them?
But as of late, no. Okay, we've always used Sheridan. Yeah.
So I was saying that we didn't fund this last year, so where did those funds come from?
From College of Humanities,
Okay.
through the Excellence Fund. Our spring issue launch was funded by a Dean of Students, the emergency grant. But with the exception of that $500, this will be the first time that the Mayor Review has submitted the funding through SSF. Do you have a question, ma'am?
Her question, but I was gonna ask how you guys are funded for. Are you still getting the excellence money?
I believe so. I'm not sure what that entails. They don't give the lonely graduate student that information.
So I was just curious, so this money is in addition to what you're already receiving?
Yeah.
Okay. What are we doing with this new money?
The new money would fund next year.
Okay. This is good.
So how many issues do you guys sell, and what do you do with profits?
Profits go into the Excellence Fund in the past. The sale of issues have been declined. This year, that the spring launch, we were only able to sell 10 issues, and they were $10 a pop, and that was our tax-free day. With that exception, we currently only accept cash, and that's something that I want to do is like open up a marketplace. That way, it's more convenient. However, in the month of April, at the end of the spring semester, that has been difficult for me to take that time. So, by the beginning of the summer, I hope to have that open. That way, it's much easier because it's very inconvenient to like mail in a check.
This just made me cry.
And what was y'all's cost of production last year?
We last year, I believe it was an estimated $2,200 to print the journals. And then for 2 speakers, fall and spring, was a combined total, I believe, of $1,200, including lodging, stipend, and travel, which was just the mileage rate. And that was working with a very lean budget because of the money that was spent the year before to bring out 10 cycles.
You say you currently sell them for $10?
Yes.
Do you find, I mean, who buys that? Is it mainly students or is it mainly faculty, staff, community?
Students, faculty. We not only publish students' work that are being worded through the peer review process, but as well as just creative writers. I've received submissions from China,
Okay.
from Italy, I did a lot of work on Twitter to get this call for paper out, and it really worked. So I often get emails requesting for more copies to be purchased for loved ones, I suppose.
Okay.
So, yeah.
If you wanted to buy one, are they in the bookstore or where do you find them?
They're not in the bookstore, unfortunately. As of right now, you have to click a few times through the university website to get to the College of Humanities and the Department of Literature and Languages to purchase through there. And then even then, it's just an email address. Like I said earlier, that's why I want to get the marketplace
Yeah,
set up
That'd be great.
for that account.
Absolutely.
That'd be fantastic.
It should be on the bookstore, that's right.
I mean, it's almost like it's a really good, well-kept secret, because, you know, I would have
It's-
bought many of those and didn't know
I think.
when they were
same
for
here,
sale.
same here.
It's been the pride of the Department of Literature and Languages for many years. Like I said, it started in 1957. And I believe it was in 1992 that the name was changed from forthcoming to be named after William L. Mayo. Sir.
Given the tight budget constraints that we're under this year, what would be something that you could potentially do without within your budget were you not to receive full funding?
Probably the fall speaker. If I had to be completely honest, the fall speaker. The plan is for next spring to also fill out a Texas Humanities grant to help aid with the guest speaker. Because I want to bring out a Latin American thumb author named Diego Gil, and he's very celebrated. He works in Houston, so the travel wouldn't be too much. However, his stipend is $3,000, and he's well celebrated, excellent work, fantastic to watch because he can be really eccentric at times. And I wanted to get him for this year. Unfortunately, our budget did not allow
How is the Mayo Review advertising?
currently online, Facebook. That's something that I really need funding for, is to advertise more on campus. The 16-17 fiscal year, a lot of the advertising came out of my pocket, unfortunately.
Have you ever thought of selling ads to just put in it and then have the?
The thought is across my mind. I mentioned it to Dr. Ritardo, and this can be distracting. So that has been an issue. Sure.
I would, just mention that it seems like Dr. Hayes and Dean Ritardo both seem to have some oversight on this. It'd be my recommendation that if they're going to have this much oversight, the department and the college need to be contributing financially. Otherwise, aside from being the faculty advisors, if you will, in a sense, I fail to see what would give them that editorial power if they're not bringing something financially to the table.
Well, they just have a say in keeping it within the tradition that has happened for so many years. But other than that, it's completely student work.
I would say tradition doesn't always have to be followed. Something to think about.
That's fair.
Time for one more quick question for Christopher. Anyone? No? Bueller? Okay.
Are there any other fundraising ideas that maybe the students have came up with to generate funding to help promote this?
Beyond fundraisers at local restaurants and continuing to spread the word about donating to the Excellence Fund, as well as purchasing copies, of course, so we are working on it.
Thank you, Christopher.
Thank you.
And Chris,
Appreciate it very much.
That is so good.
Chris, don't take Will's comment the wrong way. I mean, at some point, obviously,
I
maybe this
agree.
committee needs to sit down with the deans or even Dean Attardo and just
Remind them.
remind them of that, right? We wouldn't want to put you into that position,
Right.
obviously, as a grad student, but I think he raises a great point, and this is something that I would recommend to the committee is, maybe before they do make their decisions, they bring the academic deans into the room and they just let them know what your mandate
Sure,
is. I think that's a great
you know,
point.
to
Will.
me, it just seems like advertising in the journal would be a good idea, but if the dean doesn't want it because it's distracting, is he gonna provide that missing revenue? You know, maybe that's a better way to point it out.
Right.
Or having a dedicated
Or
stage
doing
to
it online.
sponsorships right at the front of the journal, so then throughout the rest of the journal, it's not so distracting.
Right.
Well, and I still would advocate for doing an online publication only because it would have much broader dissemination. And, you know, those are the kind of things people should be reading and we don't have access to them.
Ideally, in the future, I would love to cut what we print in half, right? So we still have that physical copy, and perhaps those publications that you're not making it into the physical copy, be posted online in that type of open access area.
Yeah.
That way they can still be viewed and people that have submitted can still be accepted. That's something ideal in the future. I'm not sure how close we are in that yet, though. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.